Good afternoon to you all. This is Education Sector Television International, ESTV. It's a sunny afternoon and it's good to know that you are there. The program again is One Citizen of Greater Values. This afternoon, I have with me an icon in the global business circle, an authority by all standards. She is well experienced, well exposed, and intelligent. You need to see her profile. I once said this. She was the very first president, Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, CITN. Do please join me to welcome my guest, Mrs. Adebimpe Balogun. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good to have you.
Nice to have you too.
Welcome back to Nigeria.
Thank you.
In the past 24 hours, how has it been?
Flying in
Yes.
from Canada to Nigeria.
Yeah.
So it's actually been stressful. It's fine. Glad to be back.
You don't look stressful.
I've been sleeping.
Thank God for the grace. Welcome home.
Thank you very much.
Yes, let's start this way. You
Can I just correct something? You said first president is first female.
first female president, Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, CITN. Well noted, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah. I want to start this way. You actually grew in your profession between two careers, accounting and taxation. How were you able to marry the two together or flourish to the top and actually remain stable to create values to the society? Can you share your experience?
Yeah, actually, thank you so much for being interested in the career because it's actually very, very useful to know how one grew. I started off as a chartered accountant, qualified as a chartered accountant, and I worked for some months, I would say about 17 months with Architectural Williams, then as an auditor. However, the problems of domestic life became necessary for me to go into the civil service, and I luckily had an aunt who was somehow connected to the Federal Inland Revenue Service, who offered to help me to get into the Federal Inland Revenue Service, because as at that time I was actually still taking up professional exams, and I was sure I wanted to become an accountant at the time. I knew that was the career that I wanted to get into. Because my late father was an accountant, so I kind of decided to defer to his, career, and so I hadn't really completed my exams at the time. So she said, if you go into the Federal Inland Revenue Service, you will be able to maintain contact with professionals, and so that's how I got into the Federal Inland Revenue Service.
As an accountant?
As an accountant. As an inspector of taxes. Not as an accountant in that.
Because you were then on the accounting program?
Yes, I was already taking my accounting exams.
Not taxation?
No. I know. The Institute of Taxation actually started a few years after I had joined the Inland Revenue Service as an association of accountants, lawyers, economists. We came together and started off that institute in 1992. I was already in Inland Revenue by 1981, and I worked in Inland Revenue till 1987. But while in Inland Revenue, I had started, helping out with the institutes that was just coming up.
Okay, as a founding members.
Well, I wasn't a member then, for being in Inland Revenue, because Inland Revenue, the chairman of Inland Revenue, and a few other directors in Inland Revenue, plus counterparts, chartered accountants in the private sector, like Mr. Ejewere of Ejewere Ashayi Group. Mr. Ashayi, partner there too, is late as well, and so many other qualified accountants who set up their own practice and were in tax practice, had their own tax practices in their company. companies came together to form the Chartered Institute of Taxation. Now, I was a staff of Inland Revenue, and I was able to help, as a staff, not as a member of the institute. All right. So by the time I got qualified as an accountant in 1983, when I qualified as a chartered accountant, it was easy for me to become a member, because then qualified chartered accountants who had risen to a certain level in the civil service could become a member of the institute. And so I became a member of the institute in 1984, a full-fledged member. But with my experience, having been helping to put the charter together on the charter committee, it was easy for me to step in. Became one of the examiners. I think I was the chairman of the examination committee for some time, and gradually I got onto the council and became president, in 2001. As the 5th president of the institute.
So, were you able to take some examination that actually qualified you to the CITN?
At that time, members of ICANN, that is Qualified Chartered Accountants, were given direct membership
to CITN.
So that's why I said it wasn't until I was qualified as a chartered accountant that I was able to become a member of CITN.
Yeah. Then, if I am right, it means the accounting profession is quite similar to the taxation profession.
It's one of the bedrock of the tax institute. You also have the lawyers. It's not only the bedrock. You have the lawyers, you have the economists. Economists who have first degree at the beginning could become direct members of the institute. Lawyers who had first degree in law and had been in tax practice could also become direct members of the institute. So the economists who were given admission with their first degree would have been maybe like in an institute of tax, in a federal Inland Revenue Service, practicing taxation already, or any state internal revenue. So they have experience. They came in as experienced tax practitioner. The lawyers came in as experienced tax practitioner, and the chartered accountants just came in as chartered accountants.
Okay. What was it like coming up on the ladder of your career? What was it like? I want you to share the experience. What were you able to do to get it right?
I don't know whether I could say I got it right, but I thank God that I was able to get to, I believe, the pinnacle of my career. I was a staff of accounting professions, accounting consulting firms. Because when I left Inland Revenue eventually in 1987, I moved into Ernst & Young, one of the big 5 in Nigeria, big 5 professional accounting consulting firms. I went in there as a tax manager, and I think I spent about 3-4 years in Ernst & Young before I got employed by Pricewaterhouse. And with Pricewaterhouse, there was a merger of Pricewaterhouse and Coopers & Lybrand. By 1997, that merger crystallized, and I became a director with PwC, that's PricewaterhouseCoopers. And from PricewaterhouseCoopers, I was admitted back to Akintola Williams, then Akintola Williams Deloitte, as a partner, a regional partner with Akintola Williams. It was covering Ghana, Cameroon, Nigeria, and Gambia. As a tax leader. So, if I understand the question, that is like the process I have had to go through to become
to the peak of your
to the
career.
peak of my career as a tax practitioner
Okay.
and as an accountant.
Along the line, did you acquire new education? So what you had initially as an accountant?
I started off with a BSc accounting and passed my ICANN exams. From then, I didn't think I needed any other qualification, and I continued with my profession career along that line as a practitioner. But I think I went in 2012. I went to London Business School. London School of Economics, and I did some training there as in leadership, African leadership training. From then, I think I didn't do anything else until I retired in 2015. But post-retirement, like I said earlier, I was totally drained, and I just didn't want to work anymore. So I retired full in 2015. But like I was trying to explain, at some point in time, my son felt I was wasting my brain power and they enrolled me into Harvard Business School for public leadership credential, which I took online because COVID had come and gone by that time. So I enrolled with Harvard Business School and got the public leadership credential from Harvard Business School. Then my son had set up something like a work experience online platform where new graduates could try and ascertain whether they are experienced or determine their experience level for the career, for whatever career they wanted to go to. They also could get mentors on that platform to whichever career they decided to go into. But that meant that each professional association or professionals should be able to have access to those professionals on that platform. So of course I started helping him to build a platform. And we not built the platform to conceptualize how the platform would come out, especially after my stint at Harvard. And of course we got Institute of Taxation as contributors to the platform, as well as some other institutes, companies, who would want to get their new employees to be developed online, especially after COVID. COVID kind of created that necessity where companies don't want to employ people to come in physically, but they could do this online, kind of onboarding their staff through this platform to be able to get the kind of experience that they would need. Most companies, when they want to newly recruit, they first of all bring the recruits, the new employees, into a classroom environment maybe for the first 6 weeks, so that they will train them and make sure that they have the necessary skills to be part of the organization. So it's this kind of thing that this my son's platform was trying to create and provide in the environment. So I got interested. It's a kind of training environment. It's a kind of platform you can use to skill and upskill even the professionals. It's not just students, even new professionals that have just qualified without the necessary skills. They need older professionals to help them to build up the necessary skills to be able to fit better into whatever organization we have. So I got interested in that, and then I realized that there's a need for further education. Yes, I haven't gone through the processes that I've gone through as a professional. I didn't have a core education background. So I went into University of Pennsylvania. There was a 6 months online program then that I could take and kind of develop my introduction to the core education field.
Okay.
So I finished that in 6 months, so 2023, and then I decided I was going to back to education, academic, properly. So I am currently taking a master's program at the University of the People. And so far I've just started in February. That's actually a master's in education that I'm taking right now. So in terms of answering your question, if I haven't gone too much around and round in circles, that's probably what my additional qualification, as you call it, would be.
Okay, ma'am. That would take me to my next question, and which is, if you are privileged to address new intake into the university, only accounting on one side, taxation on the other side, what will you tell them?
Honestly, I'm not sure it would be a question of accounting on one side and taxation on the other side. When some of us were taking courses or exams, there wasn't taxation exam at the time. But once you get a qualification in accounting, you are eligible to become a member of the Institute of Taxation.
But the scenario has changed.
I was going to come to that. The scenario has changed now. There are exams to be taken to be a member of the CITF. I would always err on the side of caution, in the sense that going straight into taxation does not equip you to be an accountant. Going straight into taxation does not equip you to be a lawyer. So if you would like to be an accountant and practice as an accountant, then it's better you try and do both together. If you like to practice as a lawyer, it's also better to do both. Actually become a lawyer, use your law degree to try and get into taxation. Okay?
There must be a solid background
There must be
before you come into taxation.
It only depends on what you want to do.
Okay.
If you only want to do taxation, yeah, it's a good profession to be in. It helps you, you learn all you need to know in taxation. Especially now that they have it in the university. It wasn't there in the universities before, but now we have BSc in taxation, MSc in taxation.
So it can be taxation from the beginning, as an undergraduate 100 level.
Absolutely.
Then you go with the career.
Yes.
It is now registered like that.
Oh yes. Oh
Okay.
yes.
Then if you want to be an accountant,
You can go in, try to be an accountant, or even do both at the same time.
so if you want to marry the two together, now what does it take?
Oh, okay. What it will take is that you, and then it depends on your capacity. You can do accounting first degree, or you can do taxation first degree, and then take either the accounting profession, right, or you take the taxation profession. As an accounting graduate, you take the taxation profession and become a tax practitioner, or as a tax graduate, you take the accounting profession and examination, and then you become both. I understand. And then if you become an accounting professional, you can also become a tax practitioner. But it depends on your ability. If you are sure you have enough what do you call it, ability to take. A lot of people take so many courses just because maybe they're not sure yet how they want to go ahead with their career. The beauty of it is that you can actually go through both careers simultaneously and make it.
Okay, thank you. Now let's come back to the general education system in Nigeria. If you are privileged to change anything in Nigeria education sector, what will you change?
I I probably don't have enough understanding of what's happening to be able to say this is what I'll change. And I'm seeing that responsibly. But sometimes you don't know what's going wrong, what's going right. But however, I think a lot of implementation of our policies, of our educational policies, has been either mismanaged or been given to people who are not equipped enough to give it adequate implementation. Earlier when we were talking about the 6-3-3-4 system, where at some point in time after the junior secondary school, those who are eligible or those who are better suitable for the technical field would have been able to do the technical field smoothly. But it doesn't appear that the government have provided enough resources to ensure this group of or class of people or group of school leavers are able to get adequate training in the technical schools. So it didn't make those who went into technical schools attractive enough for others to go in that direction. So a lot of our students still insist on going through the 6-3-4, going up to the university level. And that kind of makes it, difficult for that policy to achieve what it needs to achieve. If people had been encouraged to go into the technical field, they would have been able to gain skills, have access to resources that will enable them to be able to even stand on their own. We have a lot of artisans that could have built up a proper technical skills that will make them very good artisans, that will also help them to be able to establish themselves as businessmen and women. But we don't have all of that because that line of career path has not been made attractive enough. And that's what I think is wrong with the educational system. While not advocating that everybody should go to the technical field, because not everybody that has the wherewithal or the ability to be able to go that direction. Those who are even going to the universities, do we have enough, do they have enough background and educational skills to be able to cope with the rigors of the university degree? I remember in our time, we had to do A levels. It was even then HSC for some course, and it is only after your HSC that you can get into university, direct entry. After a while, the HSC itself was removed, was eradicated. So you have to do foundation or prelim
in some cases
to be able to get into the universities. So some people went into preliminary degree, and some of us went direct after A levels, after HSC.
And some people right from the secondary school, they were able to get
they wouldn't have gotten direct entry from O levels.
No, they do.
O levels.
Through JAM, yes, through JAM.
What would JAM?
If they got the right scores, right from their secondary school with their five subjects at credits, they write the JAM, they're able to beat the cutoff mark, they go straight into the university, 100 level.
Wow.
Yes, that is on now.
Wow. I believe there may be something wrong with that policy, because A levels or HSC was after school set. That gave us 2 more years. I'm reflecting now. That gave us 2 more years.
A level is no longer.
No. I'm trying to get somewhere.
Okay.
It gave us 2 more years. For those who went in through prelim, it gave them at least 1 more year. Now going straight from O levels, they've taken off that 1 extra year. and they've taken off the 2 extra years. The question is, are our children ready for the rigors of university life without those extra 2 years or 1 year? I think even in the...
Are you insinuating that something is wrong with going from secondary school straight direct into the university at 100 level? Haven't passed your UTME examination.
I don't know what, well, the UTME is probably replacing the A levels there, depending on what they have to read for the UTME.
Okay.
And how long they have to read for.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
So maybe you enlighten me on that.
The UTME is just the examination prescribed by JAMB. That if you write this after your secondary school education and you have your 5 O-level
So they still have one
results, you can go directly to the university at 100 level. So all they are asking you to do is to meet up with the cut-off mark of each department.
We're still back to it. There's a 1 year. The UTME, I don't know how long they take it for.
It's an examination that you can study along with your
O-levels.
O-levels, yes.
And once you pass it,
if you can meet up with a cut-off mark, you go. It has a cut-off mark as prescribed by JAMB.
okay, so they have given an additional rigor on the O-level. That's the point I'm trying to make. That O-levels alone needs an additional rigor. Whether they take it, I mean, there's some of us that used to take both O and A levels together in our time. So after finishing O, they are already reading for the A, and almost immediately after they take their A-level exams, and it gives them direct entry. It gave them direct, even in that time. You understand? So I'm saying that there's another rigor level apart from, from O level.
Okay.
That someone who wants to be prepared for university should go through. And you have said there's an UTME. Unfortunately, I lost track of that point about them having to do a UTME before JAM, right?
No, JAM is the body.
I know.
UTME is the examination.
JAM, okay. Oh, from JAM.
Yes.
UTME is the exam conducted by JAM.
Conducted by JAM.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
JAM is the examination body.
Okay, that's right. You used to do JAM. Some did JAM.
It's not UTME. So, okay.
I lost touch.
Yes, we are just back into the country. Then I would like to ask again. Having stayed outside the country for some time, and you've been to one school or the other, though it could be virtual, what values do you think should be reckoned with to bring to our system?
I guess you could say that I did try to do online in Nigeria. I did try to get into an online program in Nigeria. I didn't get one because the universities were not running online. Maybe they've started it now. They were not running any online. I even checked with the LPS. We hadn't gotten online courses that people can take from anywhere else in the world. I probably would have preferred that. All right. But having not had the opportunity to register for an online course in a Nigerian university, I've had to opt for one outside of the country. That's the only reason. I'm a patriotic Nigerian and I live in one. That's the only reason I do. Because I don't even intend to use it outside the country to work. I intend to come back if possible, or at least provide my support virtually as much as I can, but with better knowledge. That's what I'm doing.
Yes, some school of research says our curriculum, they are not suitable enough to put food on our table. That our children are just going to school, they are not acquiring skills. What is your take on this?
I would like to say that having had experience of both sides, the curriculum we run in Nigeria is very rigid. It's very rigid if you actually have people go through it diligently compared to outside the country. Whether that is the way to train, I don't know. Is the correct way, this rigidity. I don't know whether it's the correct way to train us. Like, it's more teacher-centered. The teacher comes in and just imparts knowledge. That's what we do, mainly in the country. However, globally, there's a divergence. There's a need to actually make it more of a student-centered approach, where the students are actually allowed to even reflect on what they know and use that to build up additional knowledge and skill, and with the teacher guiding them through the process.
Could that be creativity?
Yes, it actually engenders creativity, innovation. It engenders, the ability to think outside the box, and that's probably why it's a better system, than what we do. Just come in, the teacher just teaches or facilitates, or teach what he believes that you should know. Things are changing. There's a lot of change in that.
So what do you advise?
That's what I'm saying, that we need to actually start to make our students learn by building up on what they know, being project-based learning, have group learning from each other, peer learning, learning from each other. So you actually put your students into groups and let them, throw around ideas to help them to understand what the particular curriculum wants them to understand, but not by just sit down listening, but by actually collaborating amongst themselves. The teacher guiding the process. So it's more of a student-centered approach that I would like to see in a mentorship system.
As a one experience,
just to add to that, there's a lot of our students that have access to the internet, have access to further learning, greater learning. All they want to be doing is to be guided in the right direction, to learn better amongst themselves. And others who probably don't have the kind of access that a student who has access to the internet has would learn from that student.
Thank you. As a successful career woman, and in the process, as you go with your career, you are actually having your children, you have your family as well. What would you like to tell our newly married couple, women, that tries to go along with their career at the same time nurture their babies? They want to do the two together. What is your advice to them? I know it is quite challenging.
And also it's difficult to actually relate one person's experience with another. The experience I had was a bit tough.
Can you share your experience?
In the sense that as a young couple, I had a daughter. And like I said earlier, I was working with Akitola Williams as an auditor. So I would go to work, drop my child at the daycare, and then come back. And sometimes I'm coming back pretty late.
When the daycares were good,
That's a point. When daycares were even good. There was a day I actually had to pick my daughter up from the daytime. Yeah. At that stage, I decided, look, enough is enough. And on top of that, I also had a miscarriage. So at that point, I said, no, I'm resigning. I'm not going for that. So I resigned, and then I said that aunt of mine got me a job at the Inland Revenue Service, where I could determine where I would be, at any point in time. But with the audit experience, I couldn't, if I could get to the office, they were going to go to work with the team, and I had no choice. So it meant the planning I probably had to pick my daughter up from daycare was not going to be feasible anymore. My husband too was working and all of that. So, like I said, everybody's experience is different. Nowadays, the daycares are not even reliable. And traffic wasn't even as bad as that. It was difficult. They have to go through traffic and all that. So you have to. When my daughter started having children, I was
Because you were closer to where you were available.
Yeah, that's because I was available. Some people don't have mothers who could do that. Either because I was working as well, but it wasn't going to be easy for some others.
So to say can never be the same.
But to say that a wife must stay at home, I think is also a very difficult advice to give for me, because I lost my husband at 39.
So
and if I hadn't had my own job, how would I have coped with the children? So saying that a woman should stay at home and not work is a dangerous advice to anybody.
But nowadays,
yeah, that's why I'll say that
jobs,
if it's possible, if you can do a job virtually, why not? If you can set up on your own, that you have control of your time as a woman, or even on the other hand as a man, it doesn't matter who is doing what. There must be unity. Once they have unity, and maybe it's easier for the man to be the one to work from home. Yeah, and if it's the woman, it is easier to work from home. But I know our culture is very, very stringent on, the woman must be the one.
Apart from the culture, it's the woman that knows the baby. The breastfeeding, this and that?
No, there are different things on that. The breastfeeding, you can pump your breast milk and put in the fridge. It's the same breast milk. The breast milk, your husband will to feed the baby with the breast milk. So that also is not an excuse anymore. And I think, like I said, it's especially the circumstance that anyone finds themselves in. Just agree together as a family, as a couple, and do it whichever way works for the family.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now let me ask my last question, probably. If you have to talk to the teachers in our society, most especially those in private schools, preparing our students for their national examination, be it NECO or WAEC, what would you like to tell them?
Are they teachers?
The teachers.
Are they teachers?
They are teachers.
They're trained.
Some of them are trained.
If the private schools are using trained teachers, I would advise that those trained teachers should try to impart the right career curriculum that will help the students to pass the exams. I don't know what's happening now. I hear that teachers are no longer interested in teaching. Probably because they didn't go into teaching for the, what do you call it, drive, the interest, and all that. It's probably just something that became available for them. You can't have such people teaching properly. You can't have such people putting a passion into teaching or learning from learners. So it's important for teachers to actually go into the teaching profession with the kind of passion that it requires.
Not just an option.
Not just an option. But even if it's an option, if it's just an option, let them consider that this could be a child of theirs.
Okay.
Let them consider that this child also has a future to work towards. And therefore, if it's a proper teacher, as in nowadays, the teachers were actually invested in what they were imparting. And you could see the passion that was coming through from them in our time. And like I said, it seems that's all lost in the country today. Okay. Also largely because of the economy that we have. To be fair, to be sincere to ourselves, is that the economy is impacting on everybody's life. It's difficult, it's getting more and more difficult each day for the average citizen to survive. And if we actually have to put ourselves in their shoes, how do they also manage as citizens? in this ailing economy, can we say that they cannot? I know the civil service rules for those even in the, okay, you actually asked a question about those in the private sector. The private sector does not have guiding ethics of the profession.
They do.
Written, documented, signed to.
Yes,
by
and
the
well
teachers.
organized private schools, they do have.
The question is, how many private schools are that well organized?
I don't have the data.
I know. So the question is, if a private school has rules and ethics of, the profession the teachers are signed up to, why should they allow them to do side business? It's side businesses that are, distract these teachers. In the civil service setup, you are not supposed to have extra coming in from anywhere, or to have another job outside of your civil service job. But you know that's not the situation now. Everybody is allowed to be a contractor or whatever. To have hairdressing salon on one side. So with all of that going on, there's no passion in teaching. And unfortunately, that is the bedrock of any society. Once you don't get it right at the foundation level, it's wrong all the way up. If the foundation, is faulty, how can you build a house on that? It will collapse one day. So I don't see whether the teachers we have in the system have enough understanding of the need as a stakeholder to the development of any child, to build up that child to be somebody in life. Once we can get that right, that's actually training our teachers, retraining them, getting them to attend seminars, workshops where someone comes and helps them to realign themselves to whatever they're doing. And I believe the private schools hold their teaching staff that responsibility to get them to be skilled and reskilled and to be imbibed with the right qualities that will help them to be able to have more passion to even the right teaching or learning environment for the students.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It has been a memorable time with Mrs. Adebimpe Balogun, the very first female president, Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, CITN. I am happier. Despite the distance we cover together here, I am happier. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Sorry about that distance.
I do appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
And I do appreciate having you today. Thank you very much, ma'am.
You're welcome. Thank you so very much.